A muddy bike is almost guaranteed when riding mountain bikes, but everyone deals with the mud differently after a ride. Some people just spray their bike down with a hose, and others, like myself, will spend a painfully long time cleaning it up with every Muc Off product under the sun. This video is going to be a really detailed guide on how I clean my mountain bike. I'm going to go over the steps and products that I use after each ride. Some of you may find this useful, whilst others probably have their own way to clean up. Let's start off by going over the different sponges and sprays that I use. Muc Off Drivetrain Cleaner, Muc Off 94, Silicone Shine, Muc Off Bike Protect, Disc Brake Cleaner, a long bristle soft brush, a dual prong brush, a smaller stiff bristle brush, a cassette brush, a sponge, another stiff bristle brush, a dirty sponge, oh, and also some new Muc Off disc brake covers. You don't need all of this, but I use most of it for each wash. I normally start off by flipping the bike over and cleaning up the tyres and the bottom of the bike. Spray the tyres with the hose to remove loose dirt, and then cover them in Muc Off spray. Use a tough bristle brush to remove as much dirt as possible, and make sure to get in between the tread. Then rinse and do the same with the back tyre. Next up, I clean the drivetrain. I always make sure to cover my discs using the Muc Off disc covers. They're not important as long as you spray carefully, but I don't want to take any chances. Once on, I use the Muc Off drivetrain cleaner to remove all the old grease and grime from the drivetrain. This stuff is pretty gnarly, so try not to get too much of it on your hands. Spray it on and then leave it for a few minutes. Then wipe off the chain ring and cassette with a dual pronged brush and the small stiff bristle brush. Finish off using the cassette brush and then rinse off again with the hose. Now spray some Muc Off all over the bottom of the bike frame and rub it down with a sponge. Don't worry too much if this stuff gets on your discs, as it shouldn't affect them. Just go nuts and then wipe it down with a wet sponge and finally rinse. Now stand the bike back up again and do the same thing on the top side. Try not to forget about the small places, like under the saddle. I normally use a dirty old sponge to get in between small holes and to touch up areas that might ruin the sponge. After this, you guessed it, rinse it off with the hose. For those of you who are really particular, you might want to go over certain areas with a toothbrush. This should help you get into those tiny little areas that you couldn't with a sponge. Finish off by drying the bike with a clean rag or towel. Now we can move on to all the fun sprays. I always start with Muc Off Bike Protect. I spray this all over any moving parts to help seal everything in, and I also spray a little on the frame as it provides a small layer of protection against small stones and any future dirt. I then spray Silicone Shine all over the bike, being careful to avoid contact points and disc rotors. This stuff not only smells amazing, but also makes your bike look amazing. I've heard it's good to put on the fork stanchions as it helps keep things friction free. Once sprayed on, wipe it all down with a microfiber cloth. After a clean, I often tighten up the bolts just for peace of mind. And that's pretty much it. You should have one super clean bike ready for your next outing. Make sure you clean down your workspace after you're done, and make sure to do it properly. As always guys, thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.